Dear partners, dear members, distinguished auditors, first of all, I would like to thank you all for attending our first African webinar in this year. We are particularly glad to deal today with the topic investment guarantees in Kenya. My name is Mungai, and I am the Managing Director of the SME Alliance Africa of the Federal German Association for SME, BVMW. We are going through challenging times in Europe, Africa, and all over the world. Fortunately, Kenya has recovered very few cases due to COVID-19 in comparison with some other countries, African countries, and our countries here in Europe. That is why the question on investment guarantees is very important. Before I introduce my wonderful guest, let me say a few words about our association and the SME Alliance Africa, well known as Mittelstandsallianz Afrika. With more than 900 members companies through our Mittelstand Alliance, the BVMW is the largest voluntary-based association of small and medium-sized enterprises in Germany. We are politically independent and represent the interest of all sectors. With 65 foreign offices worldwide, we already have a largest foreign network of a voluntary organized business association in Germany. We support actively our members in opening new markets. With the SME Alliance Africa, Mittelstandsallianz Afrika, that we launched on the 18th of October 2018, we focus especially on African countries and help German SME to set up in Africa and vice versa. We have already started our first representative offices and strategic cooperation over 25 African countries. With Mr. Turner, who is one of our guests today, we found an excellent foreign representative for Kenya. Cooperation between politics and business must be intensified. The African continent should have a stable political and economical basis. That is why we created in March 2019 the EU-African SME Alliance under the patronage of the European Commission in Brussels with the high-ranking officials and participants. The EU-African SME Alliance brings today 150 European and African business associations, among them strong strategic partners with a specific focus on Africa. Africa needs the German SME at its side. 60% of Africa's population is under the age of 25. I see here a large potential of skilled labor forces there. I truly wish that health and security will return as soon as possible in Europe, in Africa, and throughout the world. There is challenging times, but these challenges will create new opportunities, so let's take it up together. I would like now to introduce you to our panelists. First of all, we have Ambassador Dr. Esther Nyambura at Mungai. She is the business manager at the Embassy of Kenya in Germany. She's graduated from the Faculty in Social Science and Technology and studied business and management and has a special focus on entrepreneurship and technology management. Mr. Christian Römlein. He is managing director of the firm Intelligent Fleet GmbH, and he is also member of the board of the SME Alliance Africa from the BVMW. He is an expert for strategy, neuromarketing, sales, branding, entrepreneurship in B2C and B2B, venture capital, and have a great experience in business activities in Africa and other regions of the world. Mr. Thorsten Turner. He is the head of the BVMW foreign offices in Kenya, Mauritius, and Rwanda, and he is also the CEO of the SEC Consulting. He is one of the leading experts in cybersecurity in Germany. He built various consulting companies in this area. For years, he has also advised governments like Luxembourg's on strategic cybersecurity issues. 5 years ago, he discovered his love for East Africa, where he now lives. His geographical focus is in Kenya, Mauritius, Rwanda, and Uganda. There, he also carries out various projects together with German Investment and Development Corporation. With his association, he builds a bridge between German and East Africa. Mrs. Sophie Kaminski. She is the Senior Relationship Manager at I&M Bank Limited, German desk. She has an MBA in International Business in Developing and Emerging Markets. She has so far managed different international projects in Asia and Africa. She has been in Kenya for 1 year, worked with the AHK delegation of German Industry and Commerce for Eastern Africa, where she did her MBA research on Kenya's plastic waste management sector. Since April 2020, she's German desk manager at I&M Bank in Nairobi, Kenya. And last but not least, Mr. Herwin Maassen. Mr. Herwin Maassen is senior manager at PricewaterhouseCoopers International. He holds a degree in business administration and has around 25 years of professional experience in audit, financial structuring, and risk management at PwC. After joining PwC, he initially dealt with annual audits in industrial and commercial companies and subsequently with financing and organizational models in the context of public-private partnerships in Germany and abroad. For years, he has focused on advising German companies and banks on foreign investment with regard to state investment guarantees. Mr. Maassen is a member of the management team at PwC in Hamburg, which acts as a mandatory for the German federal government. I'm very glad to welcome all of you, and we will be together till 1.5 hours, so till 18 o'clock. So please do not hesitate to ask your question in this Q&A session. You can do it right after the intervention of our guest, or you can also wait till we have this special Q&A session at the end. So don't worry, we will deal with your questions. And now I would like to give the word to the ambassador, Dr. Esther Nyambura Mungai. Ambassador, the floor is now yours. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ms. Angui, for the opportunity, and to the Mittelstand Africa Association for this opportunity to present Kenya's opportunities and in investment opportunities that are available in Kenya. So my good friend, I can see is already on it, Christian, sharing the screen. And so there we are presenting the investment opportunities. So Kenya is a gateway to Eastern and Central Africa. And you can see that its strategic location accords its preferential regional access to preferential and regional as well as international market. You can see it very well marked there with all the variables that make it very attractive. So on the end, you can see you have the size of the location, you have the population, which is about 48 million, an age structure that is very attractive, presenting a majority youthful population, and therefore very energetic labor and skill set, then official language, and of course, a political system that provides stability and and promise for investment through a devolved state with the multi-party democracy within the 47 counties. So, of course, again, we enjoy very varied climate that ranges between 10 degrees Celsius to 35, tropical to temperate climate. Next. So today the main topic would be looking at why should you invest in Kenya? There are several reasons why Kenya is an attractive investment destination. And one of the main focus of attractions is a strong growth in foreign direct investment inflows. Kenya has an excellent business ecosystem with a high number of multinationals setting up and regional regional headquarters within setting up in the country. You can see from the chart presented there, we have had a very steady growth in foreign direct investment all the way up to 2018, a very slight decline in 2019. And you can see an example of selected multinational companies that have already set up their headquarters in Kenya. If you look at the type of companies, you can see everybody is welcome. If the big one, then the others. Next. Let's look at the next one would be looking at Kenya's investment business environment, which has continued to improve and remains a key focus. Since 2012, Kenya has moved from a position of 170 out of 190 to the rank of 56 in 2019, moving several steps and showing a steady improvement in the ease of doing business. In terms of logistics, it has moved for 54 steps from 2018, between 2012 and 2018, where it moved from position 122 to position 68 in terms of logistics performance, which is a key in doing business. And then, of course, Kenya presents us with a large pool of youthful, productive, and skilled workforce, like I mentioned at the start of the presentation. We have an adult literacy of 15 years and above at 81%, and a whole youthful population of 57% aged between 15 to 64 years. Kenya is also a leading ICT innovation hub in Africa with a very high level of mobile penetration. You can see the comparison between Kenya and sub-Saharan Africa in terms of mobile cellular subscriptions. That is a chart and the statistics as per 2016. Kenya's mobile industry is also rated second most improved in sub-Saharan Africa. We have a very well adopted and popular mobile money ecosystem, popularly known as M-Pesa. We also have an assortment of mobile platforms, and in specific, we can point out M-Akiba, which is a mobile platform used for domestic government debt securities for trading on the mobile trust platform. Next. So with all those, then we can see that Kenya then presents a very good performance in terms of competitiveness on various indices. But to mention a few, we can see that Kenya was ranked first for 3 years in a row in financial inclusion by Brookings institutions. It was also ranked first globally in protection of minority investors in Global Competitive Index. Nairobi was ranked the leading business travel destination in 2019. Kenya is also the only micro testing center in Africa and one of the only 4 in the world. Kenya was also ranked the second leading innovation hub in sub-Saharan Africa in the G11 2019 report, and 6th globally in access to credit and microfinance loans by the World Intellectual Property Organization. The foreign direct investment intelligence and other assessment of attractiveness to FDI, foreign direct investment, ranks Kenya among the top 3 to 5 in Africa. And therefore, Nairobi's Africa is a reading hub for impact investors. The other reason is that Kenya has a very strong market access and good trade relations. As you can see on the screen, Kenya has signed several preferential trade agreements with a total population of over 1.4 billion people That translates into the market size and a market value of over 29 trillion US dollars. Among the bilateral and multilateral agreements that are signed or that Kenya is a member to is AGOA, then that is with US, and then EPA, Environmental Protection Agreement in EU, COMESA, and then the newest entrant in the on the matrix, which is the Africa Continent Free Trade Area, which covers the whole of Africa and presents the greatest opportunity, and particularly for Kenya, given its location and accessibility to the rest of Africa. So among the top destinations of Kenya's products in 2019, coming at the top is Uganda, followed by US and Netherlands, and then you can see how all others follow there, and a whole that is 6.6% almost a chunk of the market share that is shared by the rest of the world that is not part of what is listed there. Then top export products again, we have tea coming at the top, followed by horticulture, then refined petroleum oils, and all the way articles of apparel, metalliferous oils, coffee, iron and steel, tobacco products, and then pharmaceutical products. And we have then the other that are taking the smaller percentages. Next. Then we come closer home and look at Kenya-Germany trade statistics. And the statistics before you presents a chart that runs from 2008 to 2018. That is a 10-year chart. You can say the Kenya exports there is presented in blue, and the imports take the orange. And all through you can see that the balance of trade is a negative, presents us with a negative balance, showing and meaning, which means that we are exporting less than we are exporting less than we are importing, and that places us on a negative or an undue advantage. So there is a lot that can be done in terms of value chain addition to improve or increase our exports, and therefore improve the balance of trade. So among the top exports, we have the coffee, we have the cut flowers and forage, we have the edible nuts, we have bulbs and tubers, we have fruits, we have vegetables, and then we have tea and kerosene. Top imports from Germany include electrical transformers, food processing machinery, motor vehicles, organic chemical products, dishwashing machines, medicaments, and disinfectants, amongst others. Then we continue with the investment opportunities in Kenya. Next. And among the top priorities in investment opportunities is are covered in the Big Four agenda as outlined by our President Uhuru Kenyatta. The first one, which are earmarked to accelerate development between 2018 and 2022. So first on the line there is manufacturing. And the main aim of focus in this sector is to be able to raise the share of the sector to GDP from the current 8.3% to 15% by 2022. And therefore we are looking at adding 3 billion to the economy from the manufacturing sector. Of course, we have, in this case, we're looking at an estimated 60% of Kenyan manufactured exports, which should go to the East African markets, and only 40% to the rest of the world. That is the situation. The key opportunities within the manufacturing sector here lie through the PPPs, that is public-private partnerships, the joint ventures, and equity participation. The investment opportunities within the manufacturing sector include the textile and apparel production, which would mean investment opportunities in cotton processing and ginning industries, investing in existing and new textile mills, apparel manufacturing within existing and the planned special economic zones that have been set by the government. We also have opportunities in the leather processing, which involves setting up of tanneries. And we have, of course, to substitute the $86 million in the shoe imports yearly. Then we have manufacture of construction materials and equipment for the ongoing developments in the airports, malls, hotels, railways like the SGR and pipelines. We would have also scalable low-cost construction technology as an opportunity and modern innovative building technologies, of course, among others. Within the agro-processing area and the manufacturing, we have opportunities to do value addition locally for tea, coffee, meat, dairy, fruits, nuts, and oils, fish feeds meals, warehousing, and cold chains. We also have the heavy industries, which would include oil and gas, mining, and iron and steel. Of course, there would be opportunities here in exploration, exploitation, and production of coal, oil and gas, and mineral deposits in joint ventures with the government of Kenya. And finally, we have the ICT, which is products and services like light electronics assembly, which are phones, telephones, laptops, televisions, business process outsourcing services, etc. Next. So investment opportunities during and post-COVID and the manufacturing would now are still available, because while disruptive, while COVID-19 has been disruptive in many ways, it also brings a set of opportunities for the local manufacturing, and these industries span across cosmetic and chemical industries, which through where we have opportunities in the manufacture of liquid disinfectants. We also have opportunities in textile and apparels, such as production of protective equipment, PPEs, gloves, face masks, surgical gowns, surgical caps, etc. We would have also opportunities in the pharmaceutical sector, that is manufacture of drugs, consumable and diagnostic equipment, such as testing kits, antibody testing kits, chemical reagents, and infrared thermometers. Then, and finally, we would be looking at metal and allied technical technology and electronics, technical and electronics. And this would involve looking at clinical care equipment, such as oxygen cylinders, flow meters and regulators, ICU bed stretchers, isolation tents, powered air purifying respirator, and ventilators. Next. So the next agenda 4, one of the agenda 4 would be affordable housing. There are many opportunities in affordable housing, and the main of choosing these as a main focus accelerator was to develop innovative and affordable housing, which that is about 500,000 units of housing, in order to increase real estate and construction sector GDP contribution from 7% to 14% by 2022. why this is a focus is because 22% of Kenyans live in cities and the urban population is growing at the rate of 4.2% every year. Out of this population, nearly 56% of these urban households live in slums. And that means that then Kenya has a deficit of 250,000 housing units annually. So the low-cost housing agenda will seek to plug in on an acute shortage of the habitable housing units nationally through cutting the cost of construction through the use of innovative technologies, reducing the cost of mortgages, and raising low-cost funds from private and public sector for investment in large-scale housing constructions. So the opportunities that exist within this sector or focus area would be the development of industrial park and setting up factories for industrial building systems for timely delivery of construction inputs. We also have opportunities in scalable, low-cost construction technology and modern innovative building technologies. Then we also have opportunities in financing of affordable homes, that is investing in the housing fund, provision of affordable long-term tenant purchase schemes, etc. And we can also look at engaging in joint ventures with county governments. We have 47 county governments towards delivery of affordable housing in respective counties and in urban planning through the PPPs. And finally, we can be looking at construction and operation of social and commercial amenities within developments, such as office blocks, retail chains, etc. Within the housing sector, we have 15% corporate tax for developers of 100 units, low-cost residential units and above, to enjoy 15% tax incentive. Next. Then we have food and nutrition security. Of course, within the 5-year development plan, Kenya seeks to attain 100% food and nutritional security for the population. And therefore, the opportunities available within the agricultural sector would be, one, to engage large-scale commercial agricultural production in fisheries, crop production, orchards, animal products, which include dairy and meat. We also have production of agricultural inputs. That is where I would have local manufacture, distribution, and direct sales of fertilizers, high quality animal food, pesticides, certified crop seeds, livestock feeds, and animal broodstock. We also have opportunities in provision of agricultural equipment through leasing, direct sales, and operation of warehousing, cold store chains, dryers, storage and handling of equipment, tractors, transplanters, combined harvesters, weeders, and irrigation equipment. And finally, we have agricultural support services, which would include dairy processing and cold chain development, provision of crops, and animal insurance services. And of course, that are just among the selected few. Next. Then next we have the last of the agenda is also to be able to achieve 100% universal health coverage, meaning that we target to be able to cover the entire population for the universal health care. And you can see the curve of the projections that in 2017, only 36%, only 16.5% of the population was covered. And we hope to be able to gradually increase that curve up to 100% by the end of 2022. And the target, therefore, the remaining coverage would be 35 million. So we have an opportunity to provide the same for the 35 million population. So we have pilot project for the universal health care coverage that was launched in December 2018 to equip health facilities in the 4 counties. And the opportunities in here include enhancing low-cost private insurance coverage and schemes, providing private healthcare facilities and services, providing medical commodities and equipment, digitalizing of healthcare and e.g. supply chain telemedicine, and finally providing and implementing of alternative financing. Next. We also have the LabSet project. The LabSet project connects and increases access to Kenya and connects the rest of the East Africa, Sub-Saharan, and of course, the rest of Africa. And therefore, once you do that, then you're able to access the African market with the African recent African free trade area. So we have the components there. We have the highways and the project descriptions. We have that links the highway that links Lamu port with Addis Ababa. Then we have the railway as an opportunity, looking for bilateral agreements. And there was a bilateral agreement that was signed between Kenya and Ethiopia. And there is, of course, a preliminary design and feasibility study work have already been completed. Then we have the port. This port is anticipated to be the largest deep sea port on East Africa, on east coast of Africa. And within the port, we have the first 3 berths under construction that are funded by the government. Then we also have 29 berths available for investment through the public-private partnership arrangements. Then we have the special economic zones and Lamu port city, sorry. And this one is 700 square kilometer of land identified to be developed in phases. And this special economic zone is to be financed and constructed by the private sector. We also have an oil pipeline from Lamu port to Hawassa in Ethiopia, and a planned regional airports at Lamu, Isiolo, Turkana, and Hawassa. Then Isiolo airport is already completed. Lamu and Lokichogio, which is Turkana airports, to be constructed by the private sector. Next. So looking at at another platform of opportunities, we have Konza Sete, which presents us with what we call Silicon Savannah. And within the investment opportunities in Konza, which is a 5,000 acres to be developed in phases, include hospitality industry, international hospitals, residential housing, light industries, media, sports and entertainment, office, technology, universities and schools, research centers, incubation facilities, infrastructure projects in terms of PPPs, and there can be as many as possible, even though those are the earmarked for now. Next. So thank you very much. That's why you should think, when you think about investment, you should think Kenya and make it Kenya. Thank you very much for listening to me.
So thank you very much, Ambassador Nyambura Mungai, for this brilliant overview of the investment opportunities in Kenya. I think there will be some questions. There is some questions there, but before I give you the word to answer those questions, I would like to give the floor to our representative in Kenya, Mr. Torsten Töllner, so that he can also tell us a little bit about his work as a BVMW strategic officer there, and also from the investment over there. So, Mr. Töllner, the floor is yours.
So, thank you very much. I hope everyone can hear me. I'm happy to present about Kenya. Now we are flying to Kenya, and it's really a fantastic country. I had two IT security companies in Germany before I traveled the first time in 2017 to Kenya. And now you see the flight before I landed at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. And then I was in Kenya. And I asked me, why should I invest money? Why should I ask a company, why should I start a company in Kenya? Because I was successful in Germany. But then I was there and I met a lot of very motivated young people. And I learned a lot about Silicon Savannah. I learned a lot about M-Pesa. I learned about the platform technologies. And I also learned my perspective of the world, and especially Africa, was a little bit wrong. I learned at school more about lions and giraffes and all these things. And but I also learned the processes are working totally in another way in Kenya. So I say for managers, Africa could be a catastrophe, but for entrepreneurs, it's a paradise. So, and I started companies in Germany. So I decided to start in Kenya. I didn't know at this point all the numbers and Excel sheets, which we have seen some minutes before. But now I say it's really the right time now to come to Kenya, and business is going very well. And even in the time of Corona, we do good business. It's a little bit stressy, and the processes are also like in Germany via video conferences like now, but it's good business. And so I decided to go to Kenya. And so, but you have to see that the processes are really in another way. For example, I gave one of my employees the job to hang the image, a picture on the wall, and you can see it on the picture. It's very high, hanging just below the ceiling. So the results are very often another one which was in your perspective, in your thoughts, and each month you learn things which and this is in another way like you learned at school. For example, I learned Nairobi is 2,000 meters high and it has fantastic temperatures. It's like Italy, like Milano, and it also rains a lot. And when you go from Nairobi to the north to Embu, for example, there are a lot of large rice fields with a lot of water. So I was really surprised about all these things. And when you live here, and now I'm living here permanently since 2000 and beginning of 2018, and it's really a fantastic country, and especially for business. And here you can see a picture. It's from Thika. I live in Thika. I have my office here. Is in the north of Nairobi, and it's really, and the ambassador told us, it's really an ICT innovation hub. And in Germany, we have a high quality for cybersecurity, and I also teach here at universities. I work together with Strathmore University, also the United States International University, but the quality of the people is very, very good. And so I offer services here from Kenya also to Germany, and it's very successful to build up this bridge. After 2 years, so at the end of last year, we had a break even. And when you think about also to invest in Germany, to have a break even after 2 years, it's very, very fast. So I think it's also very important to know that Kenya is part of the new China Silk Road. So you meet a lot of Chinese people here, especially in construction of streets and of apartment houses, especially for in Kilimani and these areas of Nairobi. And but the quality can be much better, and German companies can do it much, much better. And here also two small companies constructing apartment houses on a higher level with German equipment, and they are more expensive, but they are both very, very successful. So, and here you can see a picture. I traveled from Nairobi to Mombasa with the train. It's a nice thing, and it's a good train. Mombasa is not so far anymore, and it's cheap to go. It costs around about, in the first class, only 3,000 Kenyan shillings one way, and that's around about 25 euros. So it's really, from my perspective, it's very cheap. For a lot of other people, it's not very cheap, I have to say this, but it's a good thing, so that when you make business here, you have an alternative for flying, because it's very important to make business in Mombasa and in Nairobi, and a little bit also in Kisumu. I think it's really a good thing also to invest in healthcare, in digitization of healthcare. We started here a project, and I talked with the Carnegie Foundation and Bill Gates Foundation from the US, and we will come here with new ideas. And I started here the Virtual Conference Center Africa. We don't have it in Germany. Probably you know the Oculus virtual reality glasses, and we connect people from all over the world with experts for cybersecurity in Kenya, also in Uganda and Rwanda, to talk with each other, and that we increase the knowledge of the experts for cybersecurity. And for IT, it's really a fantastic country. Here, a lot of fantastic software developers, much better than in India. A lot of offshore companies are based in India, but in Kenya, I think it's really better because the time gap is not so big. Here, the people speak also very good English, and they are closer to us than the people in India. So, and then I can go to the next one. And what I'm offering here as the BVMW for entrepreneurs, I came here alone with my suitcase, and I decided to be here, and now I want to start. And I sold my companies in Germany, and I tried my luck here in Kenya. So I searched for a lawyer, for tax advisors, accountants, everything what was necessary to be successful. And but now it's much easier. You can ask me and the BVMW. We support everyone to find his own way, that we analyze the markets. And I'm very thankful to the DEG. Later, Mrs. Kaminski will tell us more about what the DEG is doing, I hope so. And they helped me at the start with financing some projects. And so when you are a member of the Mittelstandsallianz Afrika, of the BVMW, we can support you in all questions to go to Kenya. And please come. It's really a big, big opportunity, especially now, because you get all support. The government supports you. Also, the embassy supports you. They have an economic attaché. And so it's stupid not to come here. And I love this country. And yes, that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Tolna, for sharing with us your personal experience in Kenya, and also to show that as German entrepreneurs, we can be successful in it. So I know that you have to leave soon, and that's why I would like, maybe before I give the word to Mrs. Kaminski, I would like to answer some questions. When you have, from the auditors, if you have some direct questions for Mr. Turner, please, you can ask them now, because Mr. Turner will we'll have to go in about 10 minutes or 20 minutes. So please, you can do it now, but I can also now ask some questions that we have on the chat. So maybe the first that I can read, and maybe it is for you, Mrs. Nyambura Mungai. Why is Kenya not yet a member of the German initiative Compact with Africa? I mean, it can also be answered by the other panelists.
Okay, personally, I'll just attempt to answer that question generally. Kenya is not a member of the Compact with Africa because of policy issues. There were the requirements, there is statutory requirements that were that are required to be met, were really not agreed on. So it is, by choice, it is not a member.
Thank you very much. We have another question. Kenya has a high proportion of foreign investors in the stock and bond. Have they largely withdrawn in the wake of the corona crisis? If so, what measures have been or will be taken to reinvigorate risk appetite?
Okay, just like any other, money market and platforms, Kenya has been affected by the COVID-19, just like the rest of the global economy. And therefore, there has been the slight decline, but there has not been, I can't really see the question, so I'm wondering whether I got it correctly, but there has not been massive withdrawal. So if you look at the performance, there's still quite a bit of activity, but not the very rosy activity that anybody else would expect. So the big players are still there, and we're still inviting and trying to persuade, and actually not just persuade, but reiterate the fact that Kenya's economy is still growing positively, slowly, yes, but positively, and we expect it to revamp back to where it was before COVID. So any potential investor should not shy away because we compare very well with any other market, in the foreign exchange, level.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Kaminski, you wanted to add something, so please.
Yes, exactly. Welcome also, and thank you to the round from my end. I wanted to join the Excellency Mungai's statement. We're used to having growth rates of 4 or 5% here in East Africa. And as she said, the pandemic was a global shock, but like it is with all other investments as well and bonds, I think investors need to be a bit patient because recovery will come soon. And looking at Kenya in particular, yes, our economy contracted, but we could still actually retain a growth of almost 2% this year, while a lot of other economies even shrinked. So I think that's something we can be very proud of. And also within our bank, at einen Bank, I can definitely say that, of course, some investments that were planned for last year were put on hold. But as the Kenyan market, for God knows what reasons, and the population are coping actually quite well with the pandemic itself, things that are put on hold are slowly starting again, and we even feel an appetite within our clients to pick up again what we have left aside last year. Yes, there's a growing optimism.
Thank you very much. Mr. Romline, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, also investors should not be afraid of COVID in Kenya, because against Germany, there is a COVID high risk area. Germany is high risk, Kenya is a low risk area. We have around 100 infections per day and 2 to 4 dead people per day. Against Germany, that's absolutely nothing. And you know where that comes from, because Kenya is extremely effective in avoiding pandemic issues. That starts in the airport, told differently to when you go to Germany, back to Germany, you can just go in. In Kenya, you have no chance to just go in. It's really very strict and the measurements are really tough. Partially, you have to pay when you don't wear a mask to around $200 penalty. This would be around 2,000 euro in Germany. Everybody would have a mask in Germany then. So you see also here, the government is very consequent to avoid such, and nobody should say that it is about the climate, because we have Brazil and we have India that have around the same climate and they have other issues. So you see the government is handling very well also pandemic issues.
Thank you very much, Mr. Online. Maybe the last question before I give the word to Mrs. Kaminski. And I think it is for you, Thorsten Töllner. How would you motivate me as a business to invest in Kenya as opposed to opportunities available in other countries?
I don't know all the countries in the world. I can only, I had companies also in Asia in my past and in the US. I think Kenya is most interesting because of the young population, and the government is really working hard against corruption. That means not that everything is without corruption, but they really try to do the best. And it's really the heart of Eastern Africa here. In South Africa, a lot of companies are working, but here in Eastern Africa, here are a lot of opportunities, and the political situation is very secure. Also, when you go here, it's safe. And so I think it's the right thing to invest in Kenya.
Thank you very much.
Can I also add something maybe to that?
Yeah, for sure.
I jump out again. I also would say, when you look to African business in Africa, me as an entrepreneur and mid-sized companies, I would always look in Africa for where is the best hub for an area. So if you look at Kenya, it's a perfect hub for Eastern Africa. I mean, you can from Kenya easily do the business with Uganda, with Tanzania, to mention the bigger ones, but also Ethiopia, Zambia are not far. And you can start in a very stable area from there, and then you can expand easily to the countries surrounding.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Can I add something?
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, that again in Kenya, when I looked at the list that was displayed for German investors, should you want to invest and compare with what Kenya does, we have a one-stop shop for a center for all you investors. So if you're looking to invest in Kenya, you have Kenya Investment Authority that kind of takes you through the process from registration all the way to the end. And that's why the ease of in terms of ease of doing business in Kenya, we're ranking, we're doing very well. We also have a framework that, that is in place that guarantees, your safety in the investment in terms of having no exchange control and therefore allowing for full repatriation of profits and capital or interest. And that's just one. We also have Foreign Investment Protection Act that is in place. We have we are also a member of the International Center for Settlement of Investment Disputes. So your investment is safe. And also Kenya is an advocate of multilateralism and therefore bilateralism and therefore B2Bs or Cs to Cs. And it is that again helps in terms of sorting out disputes. So that's some of them,
Thank you very much to all of you. I think you gave very good arguments why it will be good to invest in Kenya towards other countries. So I hope that we answer the question of that auditor. So now I would like to give the word to Mrs. Kaminski from the German desk. Please, Mrs. Kaminski, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm happy we're coming all together, talking and putting Kenya today in the focus. I'm also very happy to see you, Miss Excellency Mungai, again. I think last time we met, actually, that was still in Berlin. Now I'm finally in Nairobi. It took some time. COVID put my travel plans a bit on hold, but since October last year, finally, I'm on the ground.
Thank you. I hope you are enjoying.
Definitely, definitely. So allow me to share my screen. Okay, I hope you can see it. So after this long praise, let me add one more reason why to invest in Kenya from a German perspective. It's the German desk, relationship management. The German desk is a program from the German government that is coordinated by DG. The idea is to have a German-speaking point of contact in the local market that helps you with your banking needs on the ground. So here you see the continent. I know for today, Kenya is the focus market, but I also have a colleague, which I want to mention, who is located at Axis Bank on the West Coast in Nigeria and Ghana. And I'm based here in East Africa at einen Bank, and our group is not only present and active in Kenya, but also in the surrounding market. So as Mr. Römlein rightly mentioned, it's easy from the hub in Kenya to actually be active in the market. That's what einen is doing. We're in Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, and Mauritius as well. Yes, so why is the German desk placed by the German government at einen Bank? I think it's important to mention that there's a long-standing relationship. einen was incorporated in the 70s already, and in the phase of scaling the bank up to become one of the leading corporate banks here in the market, DEG was actually shareholder for almost 10 years until 2016. That's why also at the time DEG decided to place the German desk here in Kenya at einen Bank. This was in 2017. My predecessor built the desk over 3 years until I took it over this year. Yes, einen tier 1 banks. We are one of the top 5 banks here in Kenya, and the group not only offers banking, but also insurance services, wealth management. We're also active in real estate. So quite a broad service portfolio that we can offer in the region. Yeah. So what does the German desk now mean? What's the benefit? What's in it for the German investors, or also their Kenyan East African trading partners? So we are saying we also aim to be a one-stop shop for a network that is quite strong of AHK. This is the local delegation of industry and commerce here. So the first point of contact, if you need to have market information from a German perspective, if you're looking for business partners on the ground, if you need help, any kind of advisory service, they are the ones who you can approach to. And together with DEG, who are active they have different grant programs. They also do financing on the larger scale side. They have this new Africa Connect program also from the German government to support Kenyan European businesses in their growth. So with this one-stop shop, we really try to help you, because we see ourselves as we aim to be the first point of contact. If you think about banking in East Africa, that you call us. And we claim that we understand really the needs of both sides. We know that what your expectations are in regards to banking if you come from Germany. I learned it myself that banking in Germany is quite different than in Kenya. Or in overall the financial sector. In some ways, Kenya is way more hot, so I can actually pay my avocado on the corner with my mobile phone. That's very easy. Excellency Mungai already mentioned the strong M-Pesa services. So Kenya is really leading fintech globally. On the other hand, the first time I had a checkbook in my hand was also when I touched in Kenya. So here it's absolutely common. If you want to do some withdrawals from your bank account, you bring your check and you write it manually. Yeah, so I think it's kind of it's two different worlds that are coming together here. And we are trying to be the one in between. So we try to be the mediator, having your trust, having the cultural bridge, also the language barrier. We know finance banking is a language for itself, and then even in English, it makes a little bit even more harder. So that's why we are here to comfort you, to provide you excellent customer service. But I also want to emphasize the services for our East African Kenyan clients who trade especially with the European Union. Because we aim to support your trade transactions with our partnerships. We have very interesting products to actually enable your investments, because we also know that German products are high-end. We saw machinery are the main imports here to the region. They are highly automated, innovative, but they also have a certain price. And because of the risk awareness, they usually ask you to pay upfront. That's not doable very often, especially not with pressured COVID budgets. So that's why we can actually step in and support that. Okay, let me jump to the next slide. I actually talked already quite a lot about that. So yeah, at one glance, the services at German desk, business banking, personal banking, any kind of investment financing. We have different opportunities for short and long-term loans, but trade finance, let it be letter of credits, or you need to bill analyzed, or just need a simple guarantee. We are the ones that can support your transactions in this regard. Maybe I just want to dig a bit deeper into the trade finance. I already mentioned majority of these points here. We have different trade finance programs, for instance. We are accredited by the International Finance Corporation. We are very aware of Euler Hermes, the German export credit agencies. We have long ties to the correspondent banks like Commerzbank and Deutsche Bank. So we can actually arrange quite good terms for the German exporters and Kenyan importers to facilitate the trade. Also very important, we can finance you in Kenyan shillings as well, euros and US dollar, because Kenyan shillings, we saw the Kenyan shilling lost almost 20% of value in the last year, which is which was quite heavy on the books as well. But if we can support you with the Kenyan shilling financing, you don't need to worry about such devaluations of currency in the futures. Yeah, last but not least, this is in particular now for German investors and I would say expatriates, young professionals that touch ground here in Kenya as I did 2 years back. We have different business and personal banking accounts in local currency, but also euro, US dollars. We have a quite robust online banking platform. That means you can use and transact regardless if you're currently in Kenya or if you're in Germany or wherever else in the world. We have the single point of contact again. Like if you have any questions, you can call your relationship manager in your native language, and then we sort you out. We have someone over here who really understands you. Local international transactions, foreign exchange, whatever kind, maybe you need to hedge your international transactions that happens, or your bills you have to pay, and we are the ones who want to be on your side for that. Yeah, I think that's it from my end. I'm happy to take questions later and give the word back to Bienvenue.
Thank you very much. And indeed, there is a question for you. In which countries you are supporting German entrepreneurs?
So here from einen Bank, it's Kenya, Uganda, Mauritius, Tanzania, Rwanda. Yes, I think I mentioned all. So Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, Uganda, Mauritius. That's our group. And for East Africa. In West Africa, it's definitely Ghana, Nigeria, but I know Axis Bank is quite present on the continent, and they even have more countries. Yeah. but I'm happy to give the link and the lead to my colleague Sebastian. Yeah.
Ja, vielen Dank. Dann wir haben so, sorry, we have, I switch it in German. We have also the session for Q&A. That's why I will give maybe now the word to Mr. Maassen, and then we will have our Q&A session so that we can take more questions. So please, Mr. Maassen, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to talk to you today and introduce the investment guarantees of the Federal Republic of Germany. Let me just switch to the screen. So I hope you can see it all. Well, today we have already heard a lot about really interesting investment opportunities in Kenya. Additionally, shareholders of also financial institutions like banks, venture capital companies, or funds also include political risks in their potential risk analysis before financing a project. And here, the investment guarantees can help. Investment guarantees offer coverage against political risks and therefore add value to risk management and finance of investment abroad in general. The aim of the guarantee scheme is to enable business. Unfortunately, my slides are all in German. I'm sorry for that, but I will continue to talk about everything in English, so don't worry about that. Okay, so today I will start to give you some basics about this guarantee scheme and then move on to some examples and figures also in connection with German investments in Kenya. First of all, it was mentioned before already, but I would like to point it out again here. PwC is acting on behalf of the German government here. You see the German eagle right in the middle of that picture. To handle applications and to administer these guarantees, just like Euler Hermes is doing that business in connection with the export credit guarantees. So I'm a member of that specific department of PwC in Hamburg, and we only deal with this investment guarantee topic. So then let me talk a little bit about political risks. Political risks were on the rise globally already before COVID. And we shall see what, in the end, what influence COVID will finally have on the global risk map. I can just say that currently it's already a fact that globally all investment insurers, not only the German investment guarantee scheme, but globally everybody identified a far stronger demand for cover, and also everybody is expecting higher claims in future. This is seen already. We shall see how that all will end in the future. A little bit about the historic background. I don't want to bore you too much with that, but just some basics. The investment guarantees are available since 1960, so almost as long as the export credit guarantees. And Germany was, to those days, the third country after USA and Japan to introduce such a guarantee scheme. And nowadays, almost all OECD countries and many other countries as well offer their companies such an investment cover against political risks. And by end of June 2020, a guarantee volume of 29.3 billion euro for German projects in about 62 countries worldwide were on cover. I think that's quite an impressive number and shows that there is a strong demand for this guarantee scheme. So what kind of risks are actually covered, and how about the costs of cover? So political risks, as mentioned before, are far more abstract than other risks. To my experience, many people think at first about war or armed conflicts or conversion and transfer risks in combination with the overall situation in a country when talking about or thinking about political risks in general. These risks are, of course, included in such an investment guarantee. In fact, we often deal with other much more individual risks in daily business, such as nationalizations or even more expropriation-like acts. And this is a wide range. I am not a lawyer. I studied business administration, but I can tell you 1/3 of our department consists of lawyers, and they have a lot of fun with dealing with this topic. So common examples are severe problems with public authorities in different countries in connection with the scope of business licenses or with tax refunds, and that in the end, these risks could really threaten the bare existence of a project. Additionally, an investment guarantee could also include breach of contract risks. That's the last point here on the left side. In connection, for example, with take or pay regulations in power purchase agreements of energy projects. So that's quite important to set up these projects and can be essential in the financing plan. The fees and premiums incurred by investment guarantees are quite easy to calculate, much easier than, for example, for an export credit guarantee. First of all, there's just one handling fee when submitting the application. That's a one-off payment per application, and up to 5 million euro, you have to pay nothing. There is no fee, and for an amount exceeding 5 million euro, it's 0.05% of the maximum amount, up to a level of 10,000 euro. And secondly, there is an annual premium to pay during the guarantee duration, and that is worldwide 0.5% of the maximum amount. So there are no country categories, like, for example, in the German export credit guarantee scheme. And this percentage is in general globally always the same. So as I said, quite easy to calculate. So the subject of the guarantee is primarily the capital invested in cash or in kind, the so-called capital cover. Earnings due can also be included in the guarantee, for example, in the form of dividends or interests. What kind of direct investments may be covered? Well, first of all, we are dealing with equity participations, and it doesn't matter if you just set up the company or buy shares or you join a capital increase, that doesn't matter. We also deal a lot of times with investment-like loans, so shareholder or bank loans given directly from Germany to a company abroad can also be covered. Seldom we deal with so-called endowment capital or rights qualifying as assets. That's something in connection with big oil and gas projects or concessions. So what preconditions are there? There must be some preconditions. Yes, and there are. First of all, it's about the character of the investment. So the German government requires investments to be a new or follow-up investment, respectively, which has to be conducted by a German company on a long-term basis. And furthermore, the planned investment project has to be so-called entrepreneurial and economically viable. And it should not be an export business. For this, we have the other guarantee scheme, the export credit guarantee scheme. The investment has to be eligible for cover. So it needs to have positive effects on the host country as well as on Germany. And essential in this context is the impact of environmental, social, and human rights regulations on the project. And last but not least, the sufficient legal protection of the investment in the host country is essential. This is generally ensured through the large number of bilateral investment treaty protections between Germany and the host country. So Germany has worldwide, I think there are about 130 of these treaties in cover right now. So what is the benefit of an investment guarantee? As mentioned before, risk management. You can introduce this scheme into the risk management of a project abroad. So you can be sure that the political risks are covered, and in a worst case scenario, you get an indemnification by the German guarantee for the capital you invested. But the loss prevention here, as the second point, is a very important asset that you have. The German federal government intervenes and mediates, tries to save the project the government is not waiting until you failed abroad, but it tries to help you to really save the project. And in that connection, the government will also contribute towards the costs for the prevention of losses. So in front of court and things like that, a lot of costs can occur, and here the government can participate. And last but not least, of course, you can use that as a bank security, and that might have positive effects on the refinancing costs and conditions. And especially the loss prevention function is seen as a key benefit of an investment guarantee from the perspective of the policyholders. The German government was very successful in finding suitable solutions in many potential threatening situations for German companies abroad in combination with the German embassies or trials and arbitration courts. And at present, if you just look at this map here, we are dealing with projects who are in need of such a support in different countries worldwide. And you see here countries from which you might expect that, like Iran or maybe Libya, but also other countries are on that list which you maybe not thought about before. That's what I mentioned in the very beginning. It's individual risks that can occur to your company and does not only occur to every company in that country. So you see Ethiopia is also here mentioned in terms of East Africa. Just a little example, I can, without naming the company, but here you have a German investor who is unable to continue his business due to local workers who occupy constantly the production facility. And the local authorities are simply not doing anything to solve the situation. We are now in contact with the local authorities and hope that this will soon be solved. It seems to be on a good way. And there are more examples like that also on our homepage. So this is just to give you a little bit appetite what could happen. And this map shall simply give you an overview over the countries we are dealing with. And as you can see, well, we are worldwide active. These except the OECD countries, you will not get cover for an investment in Canada. Also not in Great Britain, although some countries ask for that, but it's impossible to get such a guarantee for an investment in Great Britain. And we are worldwide also active and also in sub-Saharan Africa, including Kenya. So the guarantees also helped projects in Kenya to be financed. Nevertheless, we can see that the highest demand of cover worldwide is currently to be seen for German investments in China and Russia. And that's not really a big surprise, but anyway, small-sized projects as well as large projects, project finance deals and of all kinds of sectors can be covered. Recently, the sectors renewable energy, construction industry, and chemistry are on our focus. And just to mention sub-Saharan Africa in particular, Kenya, I can just say investment guarantees for Kenya are on cover at the moment. And it was mentioned before, there is an existing German-Kenyan bilateral investment treaty that came into force already in the year 2000. So on this basis, Germany is willing to grant guarantees for German investments in Kenya. Germany has entered into about 44 BITs with African countries. So in general, by far, most countries in Africa are on cover. Unfortunately, South Africa has terminated this bilateral investment treaty with Germany already in 2013 and therefore is currently off cover. So I hope I could give you a brief overview over this investment guarantee scheme. Do not hesitate to contact me also after this webinar, or my colleagues in case you may have further questions, or we should just get in touch about your specific projects. I'll be happy to assist you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Maassen, for your overview on the investment guarantee of the PWC. And also thank you to you, Mrs. Kaminski. So I was looking at our chat and our Q&A session. I think that your presentation were very clear because you don't have any question about financing German debt, so it's very, very nice. Now I have some questions, but general questions. And so one of these is, maybe it's already, okay, so I will. So what are the top 2 industries or projects Your Excellency is currently looking for business connection between Kenya and German Mittelstand? So I saw that you were already, we can't hear you. Can you switch on your microphone, please?
Oh, okay. I've already answered that in the chat. And it is difficult to actually pinpoint, but I did list a number of business projects that are available, spanning across our Big 4 agenda. So that would be dependent on the individual, focus and passion in a particular area. But we do have several other, like I was attempting to list, several other opportunities that are anchored with our economic pillars, from the blue economy to the oil and gas, tourism, business process outsourcing services, financial services, opportunities, etc., and even in trade. So pinpointing 2 particular projects would actually be different, but or difficult. But personally, I would say agriculture and health to ensure 100% food security and 100% universal health coverage. But that again may not sit well with every Mittelstand. So the choice is actually on the individual investors, but the opportunities are enormous. It's a vast, I would say, like most of the panelists will agree with me, that Kenya has limitless opportunities, and there is so much unexploited resources. We are ripe for investment, and we still have a lot of opportunities, particularly because somebody asked about the African free trade area. The market size and value that is offered by the African population of over 1 billion, and the location that Kenya presents, the strategic location of Kenya, which presents easy access to all these markets.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Kaminski, you can add a word if you like.
Yes, I would also like to add maybe the experience from the bank and what we experience here locally. So coming from the pandemic, we feel that the private sector looks for investment opportunities to become more resilient towards external factors. So one big sector is definitely renewable energy, especially for industrial off-takers, for instance, in the solar sector, to become independent from, for instance, KPLC. And another sector, as Excellency Mungai also mentioned, is the food security. So agriculture, but especially agriculture value addition, so not just the crops and then export of raw material, but really local value addition. And also in food processing, packaging sector, to store and make food long-term available. Yes. And then the last would be, in my perspective, in general, the manufacturing sector. So to produce goods needed locally and to not be so much dependent on the external imports for machinery and equipment. So this is really things where the market wants to expand and is looking for good trading partners and investors to build this strength.
Thank you very much. I mean, there is no question, so additional question, but I saw one. It was addressed to you, Your Excellency. You already answered, but I think it could be also something for the other panelists. It was about the free trade area. So, selected countries in Africa continue to strengthen their economic growth despite the current health crisis. What opportunities do you see in the African continental free trade areas? So I think that you can, as a panelist, give your word about this new and really high measures which took place on the 1st of January. So what do you think about it? Maybe if I ask Mr. Romlein.
I think Her Excellency answered that already. Basically, I can say this is really limitless opportunities. I would say we would need a little bit more specific questions. And what I would like to add to it, doesn't matter, because they were very interesting also other topics like from construction business, automotive spare parts. Questions are also in the sector of already answered. I would say the most, from my experience, not only in Kenya, and the most important thing for you, whoever wants to start in Kenya and whichever type of specific industry you're in, is that you have the right connections. You need to have the right people to talk to who bring you to the right people. And here I can really recommend you, of course, first of all, Her Excellency, the ambassador, because she has open doors to all ministries. Also, I can tell you that Mr. Töllner and me, myself, for the Mittelstandsallianz Afrika, we have excellent connections. And whichever business you're in, we can open you the doors to ministries, to big companies, to all the relevant guys who are there. And that's very important. You should always go the way through people like us who have very good experience there, and then the doors are really open. Because otherwise everybody will tell you in Kenya, no problem, just come and I do it for you. Yeah, but there's of course also people who just are not so serious. So go the serious way. The ambassador, Mr. Töllner, or us from the Mittelstandsallianz, we can guide you to excellent partners.
Thank you very much. I see the time, it's almost 18 o'clock. Do you want to make a final statement? Mrs. Kaminski, maybe we make a little round. What do you want that the auditors really remember from this webinar today?
From this webinar, I hope they'll take that Africa, Kenya in particular, is a market world of opportunities. We are much more than just zebras. We have awesome industries. We are very strong. We are trading partners on eye level. And there's a very strong support system with the different German institutions and stakeholders on the ground, and also in Germany. So please make use of it and get informed.
Thank you very much. If I can ask you, Mr. Maassen.
Yes, thank you. Get informed is a key word. I would like to add some words on that. Please use the opportunity to get in touch with us as soon as possible in the process of setting up a project in Kenya or in Africa in general. This consulting is free of charge. I can just point that out again. And we can find it maybe a good way to introduce this investment guarantee scheme in the financing and risk management of your project. Happy to discuss with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And you, Mr. Romlein.
Yeah, I can just add, think about that Europe is more or less the past from my point of view. Asia is today and Africa is tomorrow. The opportunities that are in Africa are enormous. And if you want to start in East Africa, then Kenya is the country to start with as a hub. Can highly recommend.
Thank you very much. And now the last word, last statement from you, Your Excellency.
Yes, thank you. I think I've already talked enough, so I want to just quote a few, to make a few quotes from those people who have invested in Kenya. And I'll start with Richard Branson, who says that I have been everywhere and Kenya is my favorable place. Then I will also quote Richard Quest, the CNN business reporter, who says that nothing matches the business acumen and readiness for investment that I have observed in Kenya. Kenya is a new business destination in Africa. And lastly, from Stephen Hayes, that if you're going to do business in Africa, Kenya is almost a requirement. And I want to really re-emphasize that very last statement, that Kenya is a requirement if you want to do business in Africa. Thank you very much. So think investment, think Kenya. And you're all very welcome.
Thank you very much. I think that it was a really well sum up from this webinar. So dear auditors, I really hope that you learn a lot from this webinar, and now that you want to also invest in it, so you know now which way you have to take to set up in this country. You know also which contacts you can request and you can ask if you want to be helped over there. I saw that there are some questions, but please, you know that you can also be in contact and bilateral exchanges with our panelists. So please don't hesitate to do that. We will also send you the presentation as far as is possible. And for my side, I was very pleased to have you here, and I say goodbye, and we will see us in the next time with other countries, with other opportunities. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Bye.
Good evening. Stay healthy.